and welcome back to another video. I'm joined today with Daniel Switzer, is it? I can
Switzer.
Switzer. Would you like to give a brief introduction about yourself?
Sure, I am Daniel Switzer, and I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I went to school at a place called Rockford University, and my professional career has been defined by tours and Broadway. I've been in shows like Wicked, Newsies, Frozen, Cats, and I was on Broadway in Mean Girls. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Great. So I basically asked my Instagram followers just to give you a few questions. So yeah, let's get started. So the first one that I've got is which of the musicals you have performed in professionally was your favorite?
Ooh, okay, so that's a tight one, and it's hard to make a decision between all of those really awesome shows. And I have to get a little personal about it. It's not about just like the show itself, but it was about my experience, and that would be Newsies. And I really enjoyed being that show. It was just a lot of fun. We had a really great time backstage as well as on stage. So yeah, Newsies was my favorite.
Great. So the next question that I've got for you is, do you miss being on tour? And if so, what specifically do you miss?
I miss it so much because the pandemic and the lockdown has really taken away like all things touring and traveling and theater. And what I miss the most is like meeting new people while I was on the road. And when I go to different cities and different communities, I always get to meet lots of really cool and interesting people. And I really miss meeting new friends and things like that.
Great. So the next question that I've got is, how how do you make roles more tailored to you?
Hmm. How do you make more roles more tailored to you? That's an interesting question. So I think what's really cool about theater in general is that you're not always asked to step into someone else's portrayal of a character. Let's say you're stepping into the role of Elphaba. You're not asked to do it just like the way Idina Menzel has done it. You're allowed to do your own version of it. And so we've seen a facet of different Elphabas come out. And what's really cool and interesting about that is that you're encouraged to be kind of your own character, your own person. So some of the ways that I do it where I tailor it to me is I sprinkle a little bit of like my own personality onto a character. So let's say for instance when I played Race, I was like a little bit more goofy and silly and sarcastic compared to I think some of the other races that had done the role, and that's because I'm more like that in real life. So yeah, adding on your own little personality to the character is a really nice way to tailor a role to yourself.
Great. So you was actually in Wicked, weren't you?
Uh huh.
Yeah. So what was it like to be in such one of the well-known shows like Wicked?
It was really, really interesting and really cool. I did that show when I was at the beginning of my career, really, and it was a big eye opener to step into such a huge professional show. Um, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of parts of the show where there's actual cogs and there's that idea, and it feels a little bit like a machine sometimes when you step into it. Like, all right, this is your spot. This is what you sing. This is how you do it, and this is how it's always been done. But it was also really cool because people really enjoyed their job and they really enjoyed the show, and to be able to share my love for Wicked, because that was one of the shows that I first fell in love with when I was a performer, and to be able to like be a part of that was so awesome, and to spread the story to new audiences wherever we went, because people do fall in love with Wicked like all the time, and it's still a show that is still really relevant with so many of its themes, like being different and being a part of like a movement. And yeah, it was just really awesome to be a part of those things.
Yeah, you understudied Bok in that show, didn't you?
I did.
What was it like to play him?
It was really interesting because Bach is He has a lot, but also he has a small amount. But the things that he does are like big moments in the show. I really loved singing because he only sings a little bit, but like those parts that he sings really sat well in my voice. So I was always really excited to be singing the Bach stuff. And the character of Bach is just so excited about life that I was really excited to like just get on stage and be excited like Bach was to meet Glinda and to be with Nessa Rose and to really feel those feelings because for me as a person who loves theater and loves Wicked, that was all real.
Yeah, like I've actually never seen Wicked. I was meant to see it like obviously before COVID. I had a trip planned to go and see it in London, and
Ah,
and obviously because of the whole coronavirus pandemic and that broke out, that obviously got cancelled. But it's one of those that's just up here for me. And I know I shouldn't have done this, but I did watch a bootleg with the original Broadway cast the other night, and I thought, right, COVID, go away. I need to see this live. It's one of them.
I hope you get to see it live, Zoe. I know it will be back, so definitely put it back on your list.
Yeah, it's probably one of the first ones.
Nice.
Like Frozen is coming to the West End as well, and I don't know if you've heard, but Andrew Lloyd Webber's in the process of writing a new musical called Cinderella, and one of my idols is in it, and I'm probably going to go and see that. So it might even end up being a double show day where I see, like, say Frozen and then go and see Wicked. It's going to be one of them, but I do definitely need to see it. Like everyone's having to go at me, like, how have you not seen this show yet?
Yes, you're gonna love it. That's awesome.
I honestly just really just need to see it. I really do. So the next question that I've got is: have you got any tips for young performers who want to make it as far as Broadway?
Mm. Yeah, of course. Okay, so some tips that I like to give to young performers um, is to be yourself and to really lean into your own special magic. It kind of feels like sometimes that you want to be like somebody else or you want to do some certain thing to get there. And it's really important to stay true to yourself and what you love about theater and what is important to you in life and bring those things with you as you start really seeking out professional jobs and because it can really pull you to be a certain way or to do things more like this and you can do all that while still holding true to who you are, so that's why I say that.
Yeah, like I've wanted to get into musical theatre for as long as I can remember, and I do really want to train in it, and it's probably like one of my goals to train in musical theatre. So to hear that coming from someone who's been in some of the biggest shows is just incredible, and I'm sure people watching this who want to go into musical theatre will feel the same way. So yeah, thank you for that.
Of course.
Um, so the next question I've got is what's your favorite song out of all the shows you've been in?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so I think the music from Wicked is still some of my favorite. I think it's defined what contemporary musical theater is like. And so one of my favorite songs from Wicked, well, there's so many. I'm trying to decide whether right now I'm gonna pick The Wizard and I or if I'm gonna pick No Good Deed because they're very different. One is The Wizard and I is like Elphaba and her decision to be excited to go work with the wizard and she's like young and she's hopeful, and then No Good Deed is her like realization that as an adult sometimes life gets down on you and sometimes things are just really hard, and so they're very different. So I'm not going to pick either one, I'm just going to say those two.
Yeah, personally from Wicked, I adore the soundtrack. I listen to it all the time. So my top two songs is Defying Gravity and No Good Deed.
Yes,
Like at
I would
first,
have said Defying Gravity, but I feel like
yeah,
that's just yeah, everybody loves Defying Gravity.
it's one of them like really well known songs. Like
Hmm.
if you look at the top 10 musical theatre songs, it's always in the top three
Yep.
because it's just one of those really high belty songs.
And it's just so captivating, the emotion, the freedom, all of it.
Yeah. So the next question I've got is, did you ever imagine landing a role in such an aspiring and well-known musicals like the ones you have done?
I dreamed and hoped and I wished that I would. And I did I ever think it would happen? I had to make a decision that it would happen. That's a good answer. So there were moments where I was growing up or I was stepping into the business and I thought, well, I probably won't get that far, but I'll get far enough. And then something kind of clicked where I realized that to be able to actually book those shows and to be able to be on Broadway, that you had to realize that you could do it. So I, Daniel, had to be like, you know what? You can do that. And so I can see myself doing that. So, did I ever realize? Is no, I didn't at first, and then I realized that I needed to, and I put myself in that situation. And when I did that, everything kind of changed. I was like, I can do this, I can do that, I can definitely, try to sing like that, and I have the capability of being in a big show. And so when you have that difference of thinking, and you step into that power of I can actually do this, things start to change.
Yeah, like like I can imagine, because being in shows like the ones you've been in yourself, you've just got to have like always have got to have that positive mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because things can be really hard. Let's say you just had a choreography rehearsal and you got a bunch of notes, and that can really weigh down on you. But if you also know, like, hey, I can take this, I can definitely do those notes. Hey, you know what? I want the show to be really good. I want to be really good. And so that all of that positive mindset, like you just said, really comes into play with I can do this. Yeah.
Great. So the next question I've got is, do you have any pre-show rituals?
Hmm. I do, and I know this sounds stereotypical, but I always stretch. And I do that because I come from a dance background and I think it's really important. So if I don't spend at least 5 minutes, I try to do 10 to 15 minutes of stretching, getting my heart rate up just a little bit so that I'm not like just sweating profusely on stage. I also sometimes put in headphones so that if things are really chaotic backstage or in the dressing room, that I can focus, because I think it's really important that every performance I try to give my all and I try to give my best performance. I think you may know this, as performers, we perform 8 times a week.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of shows. And sometimes it can feel like, oh, well, this one doesn't really matter, or, oh, nobody's out there that I know. But that's not where I come from. I come from a place of being a young kid who went and saw theater, and I didn't know anybody up there, and it changed my life. And so my goal is to really have that spark of loving theater every time I perform. And I think it's really important to focus on what I'm doing and what the show has going on so that I can bring that to the audience.
Great. So you was in the pro shop for Newsies, if am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
So someone's asked, what was it like filming Newsies on Broadway?
We filmed actually in Los Angeles and Hollywood,
Oh,
but we did film the Broadway musical there. What was it like? It was really interesting. It was a long process. We had rehearsals long before we filmed, and then we took a week off and we just did the pro shots where we did like close-ups on people, and they had like the big crane coming and swooping in on the stage. And then at the end of the week, we did the whole thing again for a live audience, and that was just, oh my gosh, the energy in the theater, because everybody in the audience who was there got special tickets and they were invited, or they camped out to see the show, so they were like so excited to see this version of Newsies. And it was spectacular, to say the least.
yeah, like you worked with people like Jeremy Jordan on that show, and honestly, I love Jeremy Jordan. He's absolutely incredible, and he just did the best interpretation of Jack Kelly that I've probably ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, he originated that song that was written for him, and he is a fantastic performer. And there were other people like Kara Lindsay was amazing, and that Andrew Keenan Bolger, and so many of my newsy friends who have gone on to do huge things were all in that show.
Great. So the next question I've got is, if all the characters you have played met each other, what do you think would happen?
Oh my gosh. I think they would have a amazing grand finale performance of all of the different songs that they've been in, and it would just be a lot of dancing, a lot of singing, a lot of high kicks, a lot of smiles, and a lot of just buffoonery and foolishness, and that we would just have a good time. That would definitely happen. I love that question.
So, in your career, you have done a lot of tours. You've done the Frozen National Tour, you did the Wicked National Tour. What is the best place you have been whilst touring with them shows?
Well, I fell in love with this city called Portland, Oregon, and I decided to actually live here and stay here during the pandemic. Portland, Oregon is amazing. There's other cities that are part of the Pacific Northwest. It's on the left side of the map when you look at the United States. So there's cities like Seattle, Washington, and then you go up into Canada, and it's Vancouver, and those areas, there's just like amazing mountainscapes, and there's amazing forest and a lot of hikes, and then it's all next to the ocean, so you always have close distance to the beach and to different rivers that run along it. And I just fell in love with the people over here because they have such an appreciation for nature and life because of where they live. And yeah, so the Pacific Northwest, more specifically Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah, like some of the cities in America are absolutely stunning.
Yes,
So
they are.
I can actually imagine like how amazing it must be to be able to tour around the US and just go to all these different places that you've never been before.
Thank you, Zoe. I appreciate that. It's really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine it. So the next question is one that I'm asking everyone, and that is, what is your opinion on stunt casting?
I don't know if I know what that is.
So stunt casting is basically where the directors and the writers bring a celebrity into the show to basically sell tickets.
Okay, I know what you mean. So I think about this because a lot of it has to do with like what that person has with like clout and like what their celebrity is. And I think that's kind of silly because as performers who don't have stuff like that, where we have like this huge list of TV shows that we've been a part of, we have to be able to prove ourselves with our singing and our dancing and our acting. And it feels like sometimes when those people get there and they're not up to par with everybody else, it's like, I think the audience can tell that they're not up to par. So I dislike it. How about that?
Yeah, like I remember when I think it was Cameron Dallas was brought in to play Aaron in Mean Girls. I think it was for like a month run. Like the reviews that you read, people were not happy.
But then there was so much argument of like, look how many followers he has and how many people he brought to the theater, and it's like you really have to weigh the two. Like, is it worth it to have his followers and that audience come? And then is it worth it to like most of the audience doesn't care and they're just trying to see Broadway in a musical? So
It's one of those 50-50 situation type thing.
totally.
So the next question is, have you got any behind the scenes stories that you can share or want to share?
Ooh, behind the scenes stories. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I share this story about Mean Girls that happened where Erica Hansen, there's a part where her costumes, it's a really quick costume change and it happens on stage. She's wearing the Halloween costume and she has a wig, a blue wig on with like some blood all over it. And what happens is there's a jerry rig, there was like a knife in her back from being the bloody bride. And they pull the knife and the whole costume rips off and she has her school outfit on and she's just back at high school and it's a really cool scene. Well, one day they pulled it off and her whole entire wig got snatched, her even her student wig got snatched, and she was left on stage with just a bald cap on stage. and they had to stop the show because there was no way to continue the scene with her in a bald cap. So they brought down the curtain and they put her wig back on, and she was such a trooper. She was like, what just happened? That never happens. Like, I can't believe that just happened. And then she went on with the show, and she's such a pro. I really love Erica.
I can imagine how embarrassing that must have been.
She got her wig snatched.
Oh gosh. Like you see on stage mishaps, but I don't think I've ever known a wig to just come off like that.
It was pretty crazy.
So the next question that I've got is what is your dream role?
Hmm. I have a couple. So one of them is the EMC in Cabaret. I think he's so fun and sexy and flirtatious, and I would really have a ball playing that role. And I'm excited at the possibility of maybe one day being able to. And also another role that's completely different and is not sexy at all is Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors. I just think he is so adorable, loving, kind, and the character that his arc is really, really beautiful.
Yeah. So the next question that I've got is what is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you on stage?
Oh no, they didn't. Me. Now talking about somebody else is so easy. Me, I would say I've missed an entrance or two, and that's pretty embarrassing. I don't like to admit that, but I will because, I'm being personal right now. And I've missed an entrance or two, and usually what happens is I'll figure out a way to get on stage anyways, and sometimes my stage managers will be like, you missed it, you're not on stage, you're in trouble. And I'm like, ugh. But yeah, I that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, who is the most well known person that you have worked with? So, like celebrity type thing.
Probably Jeremy Jordan. Oh, also I know Todrick Hall kind of. So Todrick Hall and I did a show together in Los Angeles, and he's really big now. He's really epic now.
Yeah, because Todrick, he was stunt casted as Ogie in Waitress. He's been in Kinky Boots. Like he's been in a lot of well known musicals.
He has, and he also does TV. I don't know if he's done film per se, but he's done a lot on TV as well. And his YouTube is blown up.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this kind of just links to what you've just said, but someone has asked, have you ever missed your cue to go on stage?
Yep.
Just a
Yeah,
simple.
I don't want to talk about it too much, but yeah, I have. And it's not fun, and I don't want to ever do it again. So, yeah.
I think it's one of those things that everyone does at some point.
Yeah. I kind of look at it as like, in those moments, maybe I was a little carefree or maybe something was going on in my life and maybe I was just a little immature. But now I feel like as older Daniel, I'm happy to say that I'm missing less cues.
So the next question is, what show do you want to see after COVID?
What show do I want to see after COVID? I want to see a brand new show, something I've never seen before, something that, I love a triple threat show like Chorus Line. Maybe if there could be like some kind of new, forward thinking that incorporates like all of the things in society that we've really been struggling with lately, and it brings it to the forefront because I think musical theater does such a good job at like putting an eye on something real, like Come From Away, right? Like it really spoke to what was happening in society. And so yeah, something new, something crazy, and something exciting and entertaining.
Great. So the next question that I've got is, if you had the chance to go back into one of the shows you have been in and play a bigger role, which show would it be and why?
Ooh, I kind of have my eye on Olaf, if I'm going to be honest. I would love to really play Olaf all the time. He's just so much fun. So right now I understudy him in Frozen, and I also understudy Wesselton. But hey, Disney, if you want to give me a full-time Olaf, hey.
Great. So that comes to the end of them questions. So I'm going to be doing this with everyone that I get into this series, and it's just a quick fire round. There's 5 questions in total, and one of them might cause a debate because this causes a debate with everyone, and I think you'll understand it when I say it. But yeah, so the first one is favorite musical.
Favorite musical? Ugh, Wicked.
Plays or musicals?
Plays or musicals? Musicals!
West End or Broadway?
Broadway!
Favorite theatre you have performed in?
I'm going to say the Keller Auditorium in Portland.
And finally, is cereal soup?
Is cereal soup. Big debate going on these days. I've heard about this. And no, it's not soup. It has to be warm and frothy, and cereal is not those things.
Yeah, I asked this with everyone, and they're like, what on earth?
Yeah, no.
Like, I first heard about it through 2 performers who were on the UK tour of 6. And I saw this video and I had to screen record it because their reactions were just absolutely hilarious. She was like, "It's cereal soup. Are you all right?" I was like, "Oh, okay." It was honestly just so funny. But it's kind of like this new trend going around on TikTok about the whole Weetabix and baked beans situation. It's like, it's not a good combination.
No, it's not. And no one wants cereal in their soup, so duh.
So, yeah, that comes to the end.
Thank you so much for having me, Zoe.
No worries. So, there you go, guys. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, a special thanks to Daniel for appearing.
No worries.
So, yeah, I will see you all soon for another video.
Bye.